Hello again. Thank you for coming back. I want to thank me for coming back as well. Today was a tough day to try to get up and do this. So even me, I'm here for the motivation. It's not an easy easy journey. So I appreciate it if you keep supporting my channel, and you guys, I have all type of content on here. Like, I'm gonna post motivational videos, educational videos, such as the ones I do when I talk about breaking out of those bad habits, those bad attitudes, bad acquaintances, all the bad you can think of. We're breaking out of that. So here at Unrecoverable, it's not just a one-show pony. We got music. I'm going to start putting educational videos on certain psychologists. I'm going to put videos on commentary, even funny videos. I want to make this, a fun thing. I want to make this enjoyable for all audiences. So apart from that, today's lesson, or today's little talk we'll have, is on empathy and how it improves bad attitudes. My previous video was superiority complex and bad attitudes, so I want to keep a little consistency onto how we're breaking that superiority complex and how we're breaking those bad attitudes. The answer to that would be empathy. Why? Because is it so hard to show empathy? Is it because someone is going to talk bad about you and ridicule you, say that you're a loser, or that you're a too easy target? What haven't I heard when people tell me, when I show empathy, when they're down bad and they need it, and then the next day they come out and say, "Oh, you're a loser. You show empathy. You get the short end of the stick. You don't have the balls to be a man. You're always showing a kind-hearted spirit." But let me tell you, emotionally intelligent people are the ones who show empathy. Because, not just because of what Jesus taught us. Let's try to think logically here. Now, when you show empathy, I just had a difficult situation with this guy. He worked with us, and then out of nowhere, he just left. And I gave him my empathy. I gave him my patience, my peace of time. I supported his bad attitudes when he was always talking bad about others, which could have led to my trouble and demise. I had things against him, and I had a reason to give evaluation. I could have went to the higher ups and gave him up. But I showed him empathy. That was the most intelligent thing I could have done, because when he would come into the office from doing his patrol route, and he was fed up of a certain someone, and I'm not going to say where this establishment is. I'm not allowed to say. But the lesson here is that he wasn't even mad at me, but he was looking for a target to leave his stress on. Now, did he express himself? Yes. But that's not the end of it. That's not where we fall. If you are the one acknowledging someone for their trouble and their stress, there's no wrong in that. But if you're acknowledging someone for their trouble and stress, and then you start giving opinion, and you start talking bad about the other party, knowing that good and well you're going to talk bad about the person that's talking to you, and you're talking bad about both, then you're wrong. The best thing you can do is give empathy, because that's what gives That's what gives you a border between the outside world and yourself. That empathy isn't always necessarily feeling bad for someone wholeheartedly. Empathy could be just listening and giving an example of a time you had a rough time, and or at least saying you understand. Empathy doesn't always have to be shedding a tear for someone while they're shedding a tear. Empathy doesn't always have to be you giving your money when you don't even have your money to give. Empathy doesn't always have to be having a hard time with that person just because they're having a hard time. Now, that is empathy. That is a good way to show empathy. But we don't have to necessarily kill ourselves because others are going through a hard time. We don't have to pass through a hard time with them. And empathy is that helpful measure that helps you stay protected psychologically, and the other person has no clue if you don't like them, has no clue if you're uncomfortable, has no clue if there's a reason for your silence. You know, empathy is stronger than people lead to believe it is. So here on the description of why borderline personality disorder is a heavy load on society, and how empathy can protect you from those type of people. Borderline personality disorder is strongly connected to the difficulties with regulating emotions, unstable self-images, and challenges in relationship. Often it develops out of a mix of genetic sensitivity, early relational trauma, invalidating environments, or lack of secure emotional mirroring. A central struggle is misinterpreted others' intentions and reacting to the extremes of trust and distrust. So how could empathy, because we don't control, right? We don't control other people's actions. And we don't control their emotions or thoughts. But how could empathy keep us away from damaging ourselves from lack of emotional intelligence? So I'll give you the example I had. This gentleman would come into the office and he would say, like, because there's another officer, there's a lieutenant there, and he would say, "Oh, this guy's crazy. He stays 1 hour and a half after work. I don't get, like, what's his deal. He's, like, taking this job too seriously." But mind you, the lieutenant's been here for a long time, right? So he has to set a bar for the other officers plus the people that are watching him. And right now there's, like, difficulty in the organization. Needless to say, that load, that personality has to be a strong kind of personality, right? So if he's rubbing people the wrong way, he doesn't mean it. He just has to be who he is, right? But there's a miscommunication there. Yes, he isn't supposed to stay 1 hour and a half after, but the sergeant, who's now gone, which leaves me as in charge of the night shift, he didn't have to, okay, forget it's me, okay, just pretend it's you or just pretend it's someone else. He didn't have to barge in and be like, "Oh, this guy, he's such a this, that," and then, like, "Oh, I'm so tired," like, "Oh, you don't understand, if it was you," and then all that type of stuff, because what he doesn't understand that what he's saying is that he thinks he's better than someone else. Maybe he didn't mean it that way, but he doesn't understand that how he's coming off. He's saying, and that's what borderline personality disorder is: impulsive, manipulative, deceitful. All those type of things. So he's coming off as like he's the best. He's the best person there is, or he's challenging my intelligence as to what I would do, so he can get a response from me, so he can use me as the scapegoat. And then it wouldn't be, because I've talked this over with another officer and they agree, like that type of behavior is just manipulative behavior to get what he wants. That way he can just do whatever he wants. But me, I've already been through this type of personality with several people, not just one person, but several people. I have experience with these type of individuals. So what was my response? And I made a video about this. I can't remember exactly what video. I think it's avoiding bad acquaintances. Yeah, avoiding bad acquaintances, I think. So deep down inside, we never had a conversation about him without him being present. The guy who is gone now. And I'm assuming that's me and the highest officer right now. We assume that's why he left, because we had a meeting with him, but nothing was said behind his back, mind you, until he did what he did. Like, he just vanished, mind you. Now, in the end, if another officer is talking to me about that person, right? All I can say, first, we're not even going to get into the conversation when me and him had. But first, if another officer is talking to me about him, and they say, oh, this guy, he's like, he doesn't get it, like, I'm the lieutenant. And I've told him that before, like, I understand that this guy's not your favorite cup of tea, but he's your lieutenant. You can't just brush him off or say you don't want to hear what he has to say. And I did say, yeah, but I understand where you're coming from. That's all I said. So I showed both sides empathy. And with the guy that was in charge before, see, we even had talks, like, after he would calm down, then the lieutenant wouldn't rub him the wrong way, and he would calm down. We even had spiritual talks. We had talks about God. We had talks about how we should be calm and patient, and silence is the key, and this and that. And I don't know, like, he just, out of nowhere, he just vanished like that. Like, he couldn't take it anymore. So he's setting himself up for failure in the long run, because the more you tolerate, the more empathy you show people, the more stronger your train of thought becomes, the more tolerant and easier it is to tolerate this kind of people. That's why you should show empathy, not just because of your emotions, protecting your emotions, or not just because you're saving your job, you're saving your ass at work, but because you never know when life's going to turn around. You're going to have to either own your own business or be the one in charge, or I don't know, who knows what could happen. Something could happen in your family. Now you're the one in charge and everyone's giving you crap. You never know. So just simply practicing empathy could save you a lot of trouble. And that's another reason why Jesus said that about when he said love one another and treat your brother as you would like to be treated. Not just because it's the right thing to do to get into heaven, guys. It's not just that. You never know, like, that person you so-called bullied but kept as your friend halfway, just because they wouldn't do what you were doing, or they had a more stronger spiritual standing on where they stood. You know, Not only because that person deserves your empathy, but you never know down the line that person could turn around and be the whole monster you were least waiting for. You don't know if that person at the end of the line, one day they're going to get tired and they're going to start doing everything they learned from y'all. And what y'all taught him and what y'all did to that person to understand how the world is. So it's not just about getting to heaven, believing in the right belief system. It's about right now in the flesh. In the moments where you least expect it, that's when something's going to happen, and you know it. That's why empathy is such a strong argument. And that's what people lack the most. And that's what helps us fix our psychological problems. Because the more we understand how someone's hurting, or the more we understand how to show emotion to someone else, the less psychiatric help you'll need, the less psychological problems you'll have, because you're understanding more and more how your self works. You're coming to understanding, you're finding yourself. So now empathy, whether direct towards oneself or others, or across different belief perspectives, can act as a protective factor, and here's why. So I'm going to give you the rundown really quick. It's five simple, tips. I think I've given you guys enough on the first 10 minutes here, first 5 minutes, because I just want you guys to understand it's not about winning or losing an argument. It's about the consequences afterwards. Had I not shown empathy to my friends when they were gangbanging, had I not shown empathy to my friends when they had certain feelings about me, I would probably be doing the same thing as them. But empathy taught me not to bow down to the enemy. Empathy taught me not to be the one at the end of the line looking for revenge. Because I know that those people probably were confused, or those people probably were just desperate. It was just a moment of necessity, and then they went back to their lives. But at least empathy taught me that I needed to protect myself mentally for my future, not to be tarnished like those people. That's where I win. But you're not going to always run into someone like me. You might run into that one person that's waiting for you to treat them bad, and they might do worse. Number 1, empathy regulates emotional extremes. People vulnerable to BPD often perceives others as either completely threatening. See, they're confused. Practicing empathy. Here it says, maybe this person is stressed, not just rejected me. That's empathy. Just thinking alone without even saying anything. Adds nuance and reduces black and white thinking. Black and white thinking is basically an all or nothing type mentality. Either I get what I want or nothing. So that's a part of borderline personality disorder. This lessens the emotional swings that destabilizes relationships. So just thinking open-mindedly. Okay, number 2, empathy builds a stable sense of self. Okay, lack of empathy from caregivers often factors identity development. So let's not judge our friend. His household could be broken. His mom could be going through something we don't understand. You know what I mean? It could be something way more deeper into this reality that we live in, that you may not even know why she has to be like that to him. Maybe she's protecting him, And maybe there's a bigger lesson for your friend that he hasn't understood yet, but that he'll understand. Empathy will keep you away from trying to look into the rabbit hole where you don't belong looking. Learning to extend empathy inward. I feel this way because I'm hurt, not because I'm worthy. Okay, we are not better than anyone else. This helps integrate experience. Okay, number 3, empathy creates psychological safety in relationships, such as the story I just gave you of my friend, because I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole with him and find out that we were both going to get fired because we both were being insubordinate to the chain of command. You understand? It's a risk I had to take. It's a risk I had to take not being his friend wholeheartedly or lose my job. So vulnerabilities to BPD often comes from feelings unsafe in connection, fear of abandonment or mistrust. Usually these type of people, they have those type of traumas where they've been abandoned or they've gone through a lot of mistrust issues. We all go through it, but some people go through it more than us. So actually that person who has the BPD is actually more worthy of empathy than we are, who doesn't have that many issues. Practicing empathy toward different perspectives, quote unquote, they didn't text back because they're busy, not because they hate me. It's a mentality, okay? It's not just the girlfriend boyfriend thing. It's a mentality, okay? We're not we're not the whole center of someone else's life, even when we're married. This makes relationships feel safer. Safe relationships act as buffers against BPD partners forming or escalating. So you guys can be one-on-one friends like this, like nothing's wrong, but the simple fact that there is a lack of experience in the relationship, it can cause one or the other to be having this personality disorder. Number 4, empathy weakens defensive projecting. Without empathy, individuals may interpret criticism, assume betrayal, or overread negative instinct. That's there's more, but that's pretty much the whole theme in a nutshell. That's pretty much what I'm getting at when I say, empathy. Without empathy, is just a bomb waiting to explode. With empathy, people can pause. Maybe their belief doesn't attack me. It's just their way of seeing the world. And that's how they view us. Or you who's shown empathy. Or you who... That could be a way they could see you if you haven't showed empathy yet. But you need to show empathy for them to understand it this way. This weakens the cycle of projection and conflict that fuels identity instability. And then number 5, empathy encourages tolerance of multiple perceptives. People vulnerable to BPD often struggle when beliefs or viewpoints clash, feeling personally invalidated. Empathy allows for, quote unquote, I understand their perceptive without erasing my own. Again, it's all about not trying to be better than the other person. Those of you that will show empathy, those of you that are understanding it from the other side, someone showing empathy shouldn't concern you. I know it from experience. I've been on both sides of the stick. I've been the one not having enough experience, and I've also been the one with too much experience where I was the one with borderline personality disorder. I had that issue before. But then through self-analyzing and self-denial, I had to realize that it's a balancing act. Until I'm the one completely in power, I won't understand why everything's like that. No one could give me that understanding. And then the last point, this prevents the collapse into identity crisis or relational chaos when faced with differing beliefs. And then number 5. And then the last point, this prevents the collapse into identity crisis or relational chaos when faced with differing beliefs. In short, so to resume this whole theme, in short, empathy, whether self-directed or outward, acts like an emotional stabilizer. It softens rigid thinking, builds tolerance for ambiguity, perceives or preserves self-worth, and keeps relationships from turning into battlegrounds. All of these are the factors that reduce the likelihood of developing borderline personality disorder. Lastly, all I want to say is, we might be let's just say we might be the one doing wrong when we could be doing right. And one day we're going to have to, like I did, you're going to have to stand on your ground. You're going to have to defend that. And whether you believe in Jesus or believe in Buddha, believe in Allah, whatever you believe in, okay, you're going to have to answer to that belief system. There's going to be consequences, emotional consequences. Okay, you're going to have to stand on the ground where you don't want to stand in, and you're going to have to defend it. You're going to have to give reason to why you're staying on that ground. And you're not ever going to part ways from your understanding. I don't know if you understand that part. That's something that's going to be with you. You can't just erase that from your past. Your past is concrete. You can create a new future, but you're always going to have to defend, because that's a part of you now. Unfortunately, empathy cannot erase our sins, cannot erase our wrongdoing, but it can protect us from future traumas and future instabilities. But I will say that empathy will give you the experience and the understanding, not only of the other person in front of you, but of yourself, of how you work, how you're intricately stable emotionally in front of others, and when you're unstable. And if you're unstable, are you in private or are you in public? So empathy is going to teach you to be yourself more, to be more wholehearted, to be more genuine. See, sometimes even when you're being genuine, you're still told that you're not being genuine. And that should be enough for you to think, maybe I shouldn't hang around these people. That should be enough for you to think that maybe my empathy isn't wanted in that place. I had to struggle to find out, but make sure you don't linger around there longer than you should, because those habits, those bad habits will start lingering in your life, and they're hard to get away from. Okay, the other thing is, if you guys are hazing someone, or if you guys are outcasting a certain individual, it's happened to me, but I'm not talking about me. just know that that person down the line, they're going to have to make a decision whether they want to be good or bad. It's not just about did that person make it. It's not just about is that person going to get up and keep fighting. It's about when they get up and when they make it, are you going to be handed the short end of the stick? Or is that person going to do the right thing and just forgive you? So start showing empathy now, guys. You should start from now before it gets too late. I hope this message has sunken in to you guys. I hope this message is valid enough to change you. Again, I'm not just a boring Christian. I'm also someone who's been through a lot as well. You know, I've been in that life, so I'm not just talking from my emotions and my feelings. I've been the one doing wrong. I've been the one having to answer to the authorities. I've been the one having friends tell me what I'm doing is wrong and giving me advice. But I've also been the one giving advice, showing empathy, and forgiving. So hopefully you can make the change like I did. Hopefully you don't have to wait until something traumatizing and near death happens to you like it happened to me. So I leave you with that. And once again, please like, comment, subscribe. Please keep supporting my channel. Support my music. I'm making beats. Who knows where that can lead me to. I'm going to start making all kind of videos. So please like, comment, subscribe. And you guys have a good day.